Hi there, it's Natasha from Soul Mission. So, the real reason why addicts relapse. So, I'm just going to warn you because this post could be potentially disturbing to listen to. But I really felt like it was time that we address something that in the addiction and recovery movement is not being addressed. So I'm going to give a real life example of something that happened last night to explain why addicts relapse. So last night I was experiencing some insomnia, which was not helped by my neighbor downstairs, who was just shouting and screaming and also vomiting in her garden. Now, this particular neighbor is a recovering drug addict. And about once or twice a year, she falls off the wagon. And generally her pattern is for about 6 hours, she screams, she rants, she swears really profusely, and just causes mayhem. So it was not surprising I couldn't sleep. So why am I sharing this with you? Okay, so I got up to do some energetic work, and I do some work using a pendulum, asking spirit questions about, various things that I want to clear in my life. And in the middle of doing some research and investigating, I suddenly felt this strange presence come near me. And my pendulum was giving me crazy answers. I knew something was up, and I checked on a chart. And there's a chart in this system that I use to do clearing work. And it's called blocks and interferences. And I asked, is there a block or interference happening here? And sure enough, it said yes. And I said, well, what is it? And it said it was a dark energy. And I said, okay, so where is this dark energy? What's it coming through? And it said, through a discarnate. Now, in other words, a discarnate is a dead soul that hasn't moved on from earth into the spiritual realms. And what they do is they can cause real havoc in a person's aura and energy field. So they can latch on to that person and semi-possess them to the point where they make them do things that are really unhelpful, including drug taking, alcoholism, behaving in self-sabotaging behavior, this kind of thing. So it really works on the mental level of the person and the emotional. Very important. So in a way, it's a kind of spirit possession. So I do what I usually do in these circumstances. I start asking more questions. So who is bringing this dark energy to me? Because I realized that at that moment, it was my job to clear it. So it said that it was coming from a guide. Now, a guide, in other words, is someone who's been assigned to a soul that's living on planet Earth, who's guiding that soul through life experiences, growing and living on planet Earth. So I knew behind that guide, there was a soul. So I asked, okay, who is this a guide for? The pendulum said, a son. And immediately I thought of the little boy on the ground floor, my recovering addict's son. He's about 1.5 years old, 2 years old. He's adorable. And I realized that his guide had asked for this dead soul to be removed. And I did check, okay, who did this dead soul latch onto? And it said the mother. Latched onto the mother, but unfortunately, because she was screaming and ranting and raving from 10 p.m. till about 4 a.m., of course, this little boy who lives with her, it's her son, was suffering, was probably terrorized. I mean, it's frightening to think that a child has to live in that kind of environment. And clearly, his guide felt like, okay, there is somebody around who can help or deal with this. So this is why I kind of wanted to talk about the real reason why addicts relapse, is because when they start abusing drugs and alcohol, they leave themselves open. Their whole aura is full of holes, and it leaves them very vulnerable for being attached by and infiltrated by these dark energy forces that ultimately can change their neurology and mindset. So that's why before I do any kind of work with my own customers now, I always check for these negative energies, whether there are any attached, and I do a full clearing on them. Because otherwise, it's just an uphill struggle. And people just relapse and relapse and relapse. So, you know, the thing about the coaching world is it's great. It's great that we're working with people on the mental and emotional levels, and also physical, you know, because I know some coaches also work with diet and exercise, which is great. But if we don't start from the principle, from the energetic principle, you're pretty much just banging your head against a brick wall. You know what I mean? You know those clients who just are stuck and never seem to be moving forward. So very important, start at the soul energetic level, and that has a domino effect on the mental and emotional levels. So over 95% of addicts have got some kind of negative energy attachment. So that was my explanation. I hope you found this interesting. And if you know someone who you believe is suffering or is possessed and actually wants to break free from their addictions and move forward, then you can get in touch with me on this page to book a clearing session. All right, well, I wish you all the best. Much love and blessings. Mwah!